Well, now, do you happen to have your 2000 somewhere resting in your account and it's actually idle, it's doing nothing? Maybe 2000, 4, 10, 15, 30, 300, a million or two, whatever the amount of money that you have in your bank right now, it's staying idle. Nothing is happening about it. And that's what we define as idle money. It is just out there. Why? You're just accumulating that money. You do not have a purpose as to why that money you're accumulating that down there. And remember what I said, we usually save money on three purposes. Number one, it's either you want to purchase something. Number two, is either you want to invest that money. Or number three, you are saving because you're looking forward for the purposes of emergency. Let's say your reason to save does not fall under the three categories. Then that's when we say that that money, it's actually idle money. And before I tell you what you're supposed to do with idle money, because it's so dangerous for you to have the idle money in your bank, and I'm going to give you a very snippet of exactly what you should do with that idle money that should be making you something at the end of the day. So you better watch this video to the end, because at the end that's when I'm going to share that specific thing. But before I tell you why you should do or what you should do, how about I tell you the consequences first of exactly having that idle money in your bank? And don't despise, no matter how small it is, even hundreds, maybe you have 500 idle money somewhere resting, you're doing nothing about it. How about let's dive into this board and share with you. We start with the consequences. Then after that, now you'll be able to see, wow, those are the consequences. Because some of the calls that I'll always receive in a very many times, they sure resonate with these consequences. All right, let's check out it. Number one, you find that the consequences of actually having the idle money in your bank or your account or wherever the place that you have it, whether it's under the mattress or wherever the place is, that you usually get yourself into doing things that you feel like can make you money, but in real sales, they do not make you money. And number one is gambling, right? See, sometimes I do receive calls and people are telling me, hey, especially men, I'm so much addicted into gambling and I do not know what exactly I can be able to do. At this particular point, I am in a situation whereby majority of money or more of my money is actually going towards the gambling. And then you ask them, why are you gambling? And then they tell you, hey, I'm trying my luck. Let me tell you one secret. Wealth is intentional. Making money or being rich is intentional. It has to make you, or you have to do something for it, or for you to actually go ahead and do something. Well, see, when you're trying to do the gambling, you do not have any difference with people who go to Shakahola and those people who are told to buy the water for the miracle, buy the key for the miracle and all those kind of things. You're just the same as them. Why? Because you're evading the reality. It's like you're burying your head into the sand. You know, there is this very simple analogy that people say that the wild dog, I don't know, it buries its head in the sand, and because he cannot see the lion, then the lion does not see it, so it cannot be eaten. But the reality is the lion, you're seeing it, okay? So the point is, if you gamble in the reality on the name of you being rich in or wealth in future, you're actually doing what? You're prolonging the inevitable. Wealth is intentional. So if you're having an idle money out there, you tend to think, hey, I can do gambling. And by the way, you can also do some other things that are not so good when it comes to cash. Another consequence is that you do what we call the fund funding. Fund funding can stretch from one person to the other. Some is to drink. They drink a lot, uncontrollable drinking and all those kind of things. And by the way, when you do that uncontrollable drinks, and then what do you think happens? You not only lose your money, you affect your social circle, you even affect your spiritual things and all those kind of things. So the point is this: when you do fund funding, you get yourself into a situation whereby you just buy things that you don't really need them, but you feel like you need them, but in real sense you don't really need them. And that's the time people are telling you, hey Joseph, whenever I get my money, I grab that good cloth, I grab that good shoe and what have you. And this actually resonates well with women. When you have idle money, this is where your money actually goes. It's like money shows up in your doorstep, you do not have any plan, and at the end of the day, the money just goes wherever they think it's right, and then that's how you lose your money. See, the idle money actually sits on the fence. It actually can slip either way. It can slip into being invested, or it can slip into being wasted. And let me tell you one thing, it being slipping to the side of being wasted is quite easier from them actually sleeping on the side of them being invested. So that is another consequence that you can get yourself into. The other consequence that you can get yourself into is that the inflation is actually eating your money away. This is a topic that majority of people do not understand. As we speak right now, the inflation of Kenya is around 6.5, 6.7, around there. Thank God at least it's going down, but again the month of July was quite low, but now high. I don't know what's happening, but anyway, we are hoping for the best to at least go down. So the reality means that you're actually losing your money. How do you lose your money? when I tell people is that when the inflation is 6.5%, so if you have a 100,000 in your bank, you've lost 6,500, and people get mesmerized and shocked, and they're like, what? That's the reality. Yeah, if you go to the bank and check your balance, you'll see the balance is actually 100,000, but the reality and the fact is this: the money has actually lost value. What do I mean by the value? The power to purchase. We call them the purchasing power has actually gone down. You know why? When the food prices goes up and other normal day-to-day activities, commodities rather, goes up, definitely it means it's actually denying more power for your money to actually purchase more and more. So one thing that you're supposed to understand is that when you have your idle money out there, which you've not invested, which you've not channeled or directed towards somewhere that is at least earning you something and it's placing you above the inflation rate, then therefore at the end of the day you're losing your money. And that's a thing that you're supposed to check it up very clearly. And then number 4, and not last but not the least, is that you're supposed to understand that the penny saved is always a penny. If you take 2 shillings and you save 2 shillings, it's gonna be 2 shillings the rest of your life. And actually by default it will come to a point whereby the value disappears and that money can actually bought to almost nothing. So the penny saved, it's always a penny. And that's the reality, and you should be told. Yeah, I know you've been told since you're young, hey, it's good to save money, it's good to save money, it's good to save money, but they never go beyond telling you, hey, after saving money, this is how you invest your money, this is how you make money, this is... You see, money is energy. It's supposed to be channeled back in and out, because it's an energy. And remember what we said when we were in school? Energy can't be created nor destroyed, but can be done what? It can be transformed from one form to the other. You can transform that money into a service, into a good, into a commodity, to a service, to a... Just that's, money is an energy that you need to keep on either investing it in, bringing the passive income, which you call the baby monies, and that the way, therefore it reached to a particular point whereby now you have actually a cog and wheel that is actually making you what you call the cash flow without you engaging, or rather without you engaging into it actively. So those are just but examples of the consequences that you face when you have the idle money in your bank. Now, because I've now discouraged you from having the idle money in your account, now what do you do? Because the point is not you knowing what is actually happening to your money. It was not only knowing you what's happening to your money, it's also good to beyond another step to actually go ahead and consider, fine, we have the idle money. I understand, Joseph, it is not good to have idle money. Now, what exactly do I do? What are the steps should I follow so that at least I do not have this idle money? And you know where I am heading. And that's what I've been talking about all the time, and that's what I discuss all the time. Now, the point is this. Now, you have the idle money there. And remember one thing what I'm saying here, the idle money that you have, it doesn't have to be like the highest amount of money you have out there. No, the all money that you have in terms of the quantity, you can start something with it. I just gave an example of 2,000, 3,000, 4, 10, 20, 100 million, whatever the amount of money depends with how far you can scratch. Now, what do? The very first thing you do, or what we call the remedies, is actually the solutions of you having the idle money, is that have at least where your money is being channeled immediately, that when your money shows up in your doorstep. You're supposed to have a budget. That's what we call the sacred language. Immediately after the money shows up, you're supposed to channel that money towards an investment, towards purchasing something, towards something. At least your money is being channeled somewhere. So that's why I've said the very first step is that pick a simple investment that works for you. See, well, that what works for me may not work for you, may not work for the other person. So how exactly do you do that? You have the capacity to actually retain 2,000 in a day. You have the capacity to retain 500 in a day. There is a money market fund that actually accepts even a way low as 100 Kenyan shillings in a single day. If you can pick that one, it's a money market fund. It's not only a saving, but it's also an investment that can actually, not even can, but does earn you an interest at the end of the year. And by the way, this interest is actually accumulated each and every day. You can see a change. You put your 100K, you put your 100, by the way, you can still put 100K anyway. If you put your 100 shillings, you can see the interest accumulating each and every day. You commit yourself into sending that money continually or continuously to that specific account, to a point whereby you see now the interest is accumulating. And guess what? If you pick a money market fund that is actually offering you more than actually, we say the what we call the inflation rate in Kenya right now is around 6.5 to 6.7 around there percent. So if you can pick a money market fund that is giving you like say 9.56 or maybe let's say 8, 9, or 10 or something of sort, then it means that specific percentage is placing you above, the inflation. And that, what we say, is the most important thing, because whenever you have an interest rate that is above the inflation, then it means that your money is not only safe, but it's also earning you something on top of that. Rather than you going out there and fixing your money in a bank account where they're giving you 5%, but the inflation is around 6.7 and down there. And by the way, sometimes it's quite not fair. These guys, they give you like an interest rate of 5%, but then they're giving it out at 14%. They're making a whooping 9% above you. Whew, that's quite a huge amount of money, right? So you have to be smart. So pick that what works for you. And what works for me, just like I said, doesn't have to work for me. If I can pick something that I can actually be channeling, 2,000 each and every day, you can just imagine at the end of the month, I have my 60 Gs at the end of the year. Do the math. You can just imagine how much you are going to have at the end of the year. So the point is this: make sure that you pick that works for you. Do not overstretch yourself. And remember one thing, that money that we channel towards you investing is not really that money that was meant to buy, the cooking flour, paying the rent and school fees and what have you. Because honestly speaking, as much as we want to develop, as much as we want to grow and progress, obviously we cannot be able to, kind of sacrifice even the clothing, the food, the shelter and what have you, just for the sake of that, right? So at the end of the day, that money channels back towards us achieving those three main things. Those are the three main things as far as human beings are concerned. All right. So make sure that at least you channel that what can't affect you in your day-to-day activities. Number two, you can actually pay for a skill with that amount of money. If you feel like, hey, guess what? This money is so much idle, and there you are gambling a lot, and maybe you have some, sort of idle time and something of sort. How about you pick that money and learn a skill from it? And there are a variety of the skills that you can. If you're young, well, this may not resonate well with older people, but if you're young, you can pick a skill that you can be able to learn. And I don't know who told the young people it's about them, it's about, hey, them making money and all those kind of things. Sometimes you ask somebody, they tell you, hey, would you have something that you can connect me with that I can actually make money? And you ask them, okay, fine, what specific solutions can you solve for you to be given money? And then they tell you they can do anything. Nobody can do anything. You have to be specific. You have to say, hey, guess what? I can actually talk to people. I have the confidence. I have the language. I know something about psychology. Hey, guess what? I'm good at numbers. I'm good at money. Hey, I can teach mathematics. Hey, guess what? I'm good painter. Hey, guess what? I'm a plumber. I'm an electrician. You got to know something. There's no way you can say, hey, I can do anything as far as the money can come in. No, that's not how you describe yourself. That it means that you really do not have value that you can say, hey, this is me and this is how I do my things. And you're supposed to work towards your confidence. You have to work about something that you can, hey, guess what? If you place me before this thing, I'm good at it. I'm good at computers. I do repair computers. I do graphic design. I can do web designing. I can do, all video editing, video shooting, and all those kind of things. It's good when you specify exactly what you can offer. Then from there, somebody can actually look in the catalog of what they have as a possibility or potentials, and then they can say, hey, I think whatever you can do, it can resonate well with this. But when you leave it open and tell me you can do anything, then it means probably you can't do anything. That's the reality. So remember one thing, money is always a product, or rather, money is always a reward given after solving someone's problem. So work towards you having a skill. By the way, I know this one may not even, you may not even get it, by the way, because it took me also time to understand it. And don't think I got this information quite long time. No, people used to say, hey, have skill that you can offer, have a value attached on top of your head, and all those things. I never used to understand things. I used to have a very hard time understanding what these guys are saying. But guess what? Where I am right now, I can actually attest and say it is very true. And I pray one day that God will help you understand what I mean, because that is the solution. That is the matrix. That is the thing that you've been looking forward. What can I do to make money? That is the secret. Simple. That is the secret. I know it may not even make sense after even saying it, but that's the secret. If one day you'll be able to get enlightened and understand that what it means, then I am telling you, from that time, that's where the problems will actually end. If you can focus on solving people's problem, if you solve 100 million problem, you will get your 100 billion. If you solve a billion problem, you will get a billion problem. If you solve 100,000 problem, you will get exactly that. Depends with the magnitude of the problem that you're solving and how smart you're good at it. And that is the only way you actually make money out of it. There is no any other formula. Otherwise, if you keep on saying that I can do anything, then probably you can't do nothing. The last one is that commit on buying an asset. If you can just actually commit on buying yourself an asset, let's say you dedicate a certain amount of money, depends with your capacity, and you're repaying a certain loan because you're buying an asset, at least you eradicate what we have there, we call the idle money, and then from there you can actually make something at the end of the day. So that's my point, and that is exactly how you're supposed to go by it. All right, so for now, guys, it's a goodbye, but don't forget, pick my number from the description of this specific video. You can give me a call. I offer services at a personal level at a cup of coffee's price. And also, you can as well pick my booklets about investments on different areas. All right, and how do you do that? Pick that number, give me a call or text me, and we can talk business. My name is Joseph, talk about money, and I post a video each and every day. Make sure that you like this video and make sure that you subscribe. How do you do so? On the right there is a small button written subscribe. Hit that magical button, turn that notification bell, and a whole YouTube will notify you whenever I upload a new good video. For now, it's a goodbye and see you.